Greetings, scholars, and welcome to part two of our discussion on writing definitions for the definition paper. In the last video, we covered writing the dictionary definition of the term, the sentence definition, the extended definition, and the negative definition. In this video, I want to focus on writing the historical definition and the stipulative definition. So, again, we're going to need our worksheet, what you need to know about the definition paper. And remember, if ever you get lost, if ever you need to know what you're going to do, just look at this sheet. So, historical definitions, as it says on the screen, you will trace the evolution of a term from its use to its adoption in other languages to its shifting meanings over time. Another way to think of this is background information, and I want to add a category. I'm going to do a split here, and I'm just going to call this historical background information. Now, I want to keep this background historical information because of some things we're going to do in just a second. You may not be able to find actual historical information because some of your terms are rather new and they don't have an origin, but some of them do. And for those of you who can find the history, use the history. But others of you will be finding background information on your topic. I've done this in my other two classes, and one of the terms that's on there for the undecided voter, there is no origin of that term that exists. However, there's lots of background information out there about undecided voters. And I told the students who are doing that topic, just use those articles that they find for this. So, what am I talking about? Well, if you're going to do the historical definition of a term, you're going to want to go to Google. And one of the things that you're going to do is just type. I was doing DEI, so I'm going to keep that term. I've already done the history of woke. I've already done the history of DEI. And I'm just going to pull up my results. So when I do this, I get a lot of information on the history of diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? So what I want to do, I want to go through here and I want to find one that is going to work for me, that I can read through the article, that I can get my search terms and get the information that I need about the topic, about the history. So I'm going to use this one right here because this is the one I've used in my other classes. The history of DEI, the evolution of diversity training programs. So I'm going to click on this. And one of the things that I like about this is that, first of all, I looked at the date, and the date is current. This was an article written January 1st, 2024. It has an author, we have a title, but this has all of the history for DEI programs. So what I'm going to do, right, because this is historical information, we just need to copy. I'm just going to do a quick copy and paste. I'm going to go through, read the article, and I just want to copy those things that I find useful in here. And I'm just going to do a control copy. I'm going to go back to my paper, and I'm going to do a paste. Okay. Again, I'm going to mine the articles. I'm going to mine the article for everything that I need. I'm looking at the time periods and anything that's historical. I want to make sure that I get time periods. So again, I'm using this one article, and what I'm going to do is use this just to get the information, just to get the information, just to get the history, just to get the background information. So I'm going to go through here again, and I'm just going to copy the information that I need for my history. Now, when I get ready to write the paper, I will be better able to organize this information in my paper, and I can edit the information. But right now, I just want to do a careful reading of the article and pull out those things about the history. And if you notice, this one of the things that I'm doing here is I'm copying everything according to the dates, according to the years that are in here, because that's going to give me the most historical information about the topic. So I'm going to go through here um, and I'm just going to copy information. And like I said, I'm going to give you some notes on this in just a second. Go back here and I'm going to paste. I think there was one more thing in here that I copied. Um, I think this was the last period. So I have all of my history background information for the paper, and I'm just pasting this information here on my form, right? So I know where all the history is. I'm going to do a quick formatting because I want everything in Times New Roman, size 12. And when you actually write the paper for the historical information, this is going to be a paragraph. So you are going to need, uh, let's say, to, I'm going to say 6 to 12 sentences, your honor students, um, of just background history, historical information. And if I look at this, I'm looking at the keywords that I copy here, the origins, when did it start, mid 60s. It talks about the introduction of equal employment laws. Then it goes through the years that I'm interested in, just showing how it progressed over time. So I have all of that information in here. The last thing I'm going to do, we have not gone over documentation yet, but I want to keep this article. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the URL, just do a Control C, and I'm going to place the URL here in the document so that I have it when I need it, because next week we're going to work on the problem solution aspect of the topic, and I'm going to need this web link to go back to the article to do the works cited entry for this. So I'm going to take care of all of the documentation and what you'll need for documentation on next week. Right now, I just want you to get the information. So the last definition that we're going to do is the stipulative definition. And the stipulative definition is all about you and your interpretation of the term. I'm just going to copy something that I did for another class since I've already typed the information and I don't want this to be a long video. I am going to copy and paste your instructions right here, and don't worry, I'm going to load this to Blackboard. So remember, the stipulative definition puts limitations on the term and how you would develop the term in the paper. Write 5 to 8 sentences or more, right? Take a narrative approach. In other words, this is your paper. This is how you're going to put limitations on the paper. Include information on the two sides that form the problem, and I want you to state the purpose of the problem. So if I go back to my handout, what do you need to know? We looked at this definition, right? The stipulative definition is your definition. It is your interpretation of how the term works, how you would define the term, who's going to be arguing on the two sides, right? So with this one, we talked about the Ann Dillard example. She wrote about her definition of football, right? And how she understood the game of football as a 9-year-old. She wrote, "Some boys taught me to play football. This was fine sport. You thought up a new strategy for every play and whispered it to the others. You went out for a pass, fooling everyone. Best, you got to throw yourself mightily at someone's running legs. Either you brought him down or you hit the ground flat out on your chin with your arms empty before you. It was all or nothing, right? So the simplest definition, this is your definition. These need to be your own words, right? How are you going to put limits on the term to fit your paper? And this should be all of your original ideas. I am going to copy um, my stipulative definition that I did for another class, and I'm just going to paste it here to show you exactly how it should be written. And like I said, just to save time, right? So I wrote my stipulative definition. I'm taking a narrative approach, which means I'm writing about this in the first person, right? How does this affect me? What is my definition? Who am I going to discuss in the paper? What's going to be the problem? Who are going to be the two sides? Uh, so look at this. As an educator, I am very concerned that DEI has come under attack in 2024. DEI policies were meant to bridge the gap between marginalized groups and employers seeking to make sure that their employees came from diverse backgrounds. Now, DEI has become a negative buzzword for conservatives who seem to want to go back to a time when racial, gender, and sexual orientation discrimination was tolerated in employment. We can't even teach the history of slavery because conservatives feel that that makes others, meaning whites who want to forget about the atrocities of their ancestors, uncomfortable. In this new day and age, discrimination is making a comeback. Look at my last sentence. This paper will address, this is going to be, state the purpose of the paper. What do you want to do with the paper? This paper will focus on the most common problems associated with DEI and offer solutions which may bridge the gap between the two sides in the DEI debate. Two sides, I've mentioned conservatives, uh, liberals will be the other side. I didn't mention them in here. I can go back and edit that. Right now, what I want to do is get all of my ideas down. So, you're going to use all of this information to develop section 1 of your paper, which is going to be your definition. Remember, we write definition papers so that we establish our ethos, our credibility, our reliability. How does the reader know he or she can trust you if you cannot define terms? So, keep this in mind. This exercise isn't just for this assignment. Remember what I told you, definition is the basis for every academic essay that you write. So you're going to be writing another definition in the next paper and the last paper. So in academic writing, we're starting this off teaching you how to write definitions for your paper so that you can write more academic inclined papers in the future. And all academic papers will start off with the definition. So, what I want you to do for homework, I want you to finish up this handout, write the historical definition, write the stipulative definition. You will submit this to me in class on Tuesday. I will have a link available for you. And on Tuesday, we're going to pick up with talking about sections 2 and 3 of the paper, which will be the problem solution sections. And I will have a handout ready for you then so that we can work through those also. Uh, that is it for this video. I know that there are activities going on this weekend for homecoming. I think they start Sunday, but someone told me that there's a party somewhere else. So just be careful. Make sure that you get this work done. Make sure that you have it ready for me in class on Tuesday. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, and I will see you in class on Tuesday.